Hey guys, Ash here for the Gunners and Blues. Hope you guys are all well. And it's the preview video of the Sunday's game against Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup fourth round. So it's about 10 days or so since we last played, which was the 2-1 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Very strange kind of way we played that game, the way we were set up, Gylfi Sigurdsson up front, and something similar might happen, of course, on Sunday. We haven't seen anything from Carlo Ancelotti in regards to who's going to play, etc., because he hasn't given his press conference yet. I think that happens on Friday. But I don't believe Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to make this game, so I would go with something along the lines of a 4-2-3-1, if that makes any sense. I'll put Olsen in goal. I would keep Luca Dean in the side, maybe Keenan and Ben Godfrey, maybe Keenan Holgate and Coleman at the other side, with then Gomez and maybe Tom Davies in that midfield, and then the front line, maybe Iwobi on one side, a number 10 role for James Rodriguez, and I suppose it's a toss between Richarlison, a toss between him and Anthony Gordon, but I believe we shouldn't be going too weak of a side, so I'd be probably going with Richarlison and Cenk Tosun up front. If the guys can get their crosses right, if Iwobi can keep on his form and get good balls into Cenk Tosun, it's the kind of game where he should be able to dominate in the air and be able to possibly get goals, and that's why from a scoreline point of view, I'm going with a 2-0 win, guys, with Tosun and Iwobi getting the goal. I was absolutely delighted with Iwobi getting the opener against Wolves in the last league game, because I felt that the way he's been playing, he deserved to get at least a goal, and that goal would kick him on that little bit further. And because he's playing in that more, not defensive is probably the wrong word, but because he's been held back more, it's giving him more space to, instead of them thinking of just being a forward, striker getting into the box or the forward player, he has more space to move around, and that's why the lovely work for his goal, from James Rodriguez all the way to Luca Dean, who again found Iwobi, and it was a lovely finish. But anyway, with this 2-0 win, this should be a game, and it's a competition, guys. I'm tired saying it in most years, that it's a competition that should be taken seriously every season, just like the Carabao Cup. The clubs that turn around and say, that's nothing. That's a club that has billions of revenue coming in. I mean, billions of revenue, because the price fee is only like 200,000 or something like that if you win the Carabao Cup. But the bottom line is, it gives you European competition. I've said it before and I'm saying it again: if you don't have any competition, it makes it very, very difficult to attract quality players. And now we have players like James Rodriguez in there, and that reach out globally that we saw when he signed for the club. We need things like that, and now the next step is to getting the silverware in there to go along with that. So it is a huge competition. I don't want to see the team being too weakened. I know we are limited with our squad, so it doesn't get too depleted. So some people say, okay, let's put in Nkunku in there. Other people will say, we'll take Coleman out and put Holgate in there, and have maybe Ben Godfrey go to left back, which he's done fairly well, of course, but I don't want to see that happening. From regards to how we play against Sheffield Wednesday, if I remember correctly, I think the last time we played them was in 2019, which is probably an FA Cup game now that I think about it. And then the last time we lost them, which is hopefully doesn't happen, was in 1999. I think it was a 2-1 loss at home, I think it was, to them. And that was probably obviously when they were last in the Premier League. So from Luca Dean, maybe instead of Tom Davies, maybe Gylfi Sigurdsson to partner Andre Gomez, because if they can get their set plays right, this could be a very, very good outlet for Cenk Tosun. And some people might say you play Bernard. The only thing I'll say about Bernard is, Bernard, I think his heart just isn't in it now. I think he realises that his time is limited. So unless he comes into the game, or starts the game and puts on one hell of a performance to attract the attention, I think the deal is still possibly on to keep Olsen at the club, so they'll do a deal where Olsen and then Bernard goes the other way, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff is still happening. So The one player that won't feature anyway in this game is Ella Sims. We all know he's moved on to Blackpool for the rest of the season, which I think it's a good move for him, because now he needs to get just in that upper echelon, get into the next level, and hopefully get quality, get some game time and get some goals under his belt. As long as it doesn't lead to him leaving the club. We won't go as far as saying that he's a prodigy, but he is very, very important for possibly for the club going for the future. So we should be holding on to him. The only downside to that is, with the transfer window going to be closing very soon, Marcel Brands has more or less said, a number of times that we're going to be thinning out the squad and not adding in. I think it's imperative, and at minimum, it's a requirement that we get another striker in, possibly even two, if I dare say it. But even if it has to be loan deals, unless we get players like Balassi and Besic, the people who are just sitting on the bench, sitting at home doing nothing, we need to get them guys, off our wage books, and then possibly it might lead to bringing in a big enough signing on a permanent. But minimum, I think we have to get somebody in on a loan deal for the end of the season, because worst case scenario, if we both lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison for any number of time, we're going to be struck down with our goals are going astray, and we don't want that to happen now with our season. We always have, we're doing so well in the league. We don't want to have, never mind COVID threatening to stop the league from continuing like it did last season. We don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that if we lose key players, that there is somebody to come in to help out with the goals if needed be. So right, back to the Burnley game, guys. I am sticking with my 2-0 win, so it will be Antosin to get the goals, but I'll delete that off if James Rodriguez gets a brace. I think what he could do is, if he gets a couple of goals in a game like this, that may kick him on and re-energise him to get him into the player that we know he can be. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'll be back on Sunday after the game, of course, with the match reaction. We talked again at that moment in time, so let's hope we're still in the competition by Sunday evening. Take care and stay blue.